how he feels, So it's not the case of, people, doing what I like to call barbershop chat, beer parlor chat. This guy stood, with him in open forum and told him exactly what he thinks about him. He's not hiding, right? He's not hiding. But unfortunately, how many people out there, right? How many people out there? Someone said to me recently, "Oh yes, things have changed. Things have changed. There are youth in places like Nigeria now who are no longer quiet, right? There are youth out there in Nigeria now who are no longer afraid, to stand up for what they believe in, And this is exactly what I've been screaming for the last 15, 20 years, right? There's no point in you sitting in the barbershop and complaining about how hard things are or how bad things are when you are the people giving your police tips. You're giving your police officers tips, right, for doing a good job. You're appreciating them, right, for standing in the middle of a Lagos road, when there's loads of traffic and 2 cars have just crashed, right, and you're standing in the middle of a Lagos road, right, on your phone, trying to chat up a young lady that you took 50 naira from, about 5-10 minutes ago. How does that keep our country secure?
Honestly, I think that all these degrees that we carry for our heads and the student finance debt. Anyway, I don't even want to talk about that one, but I think as these Oyimbos love to say to us, go back to where you came from. I think we need to start actually going back.
You know what?
Actually putting these degrees to use.
You know what, Josie? I challenged someone the other day, and I said to him, the person happened to be Caucasian, and because that's the person, those are the people that I can actually direct this at. And I said to them, here's a joke, right? And the joke is this: you keep saying that we should go back to where we came from. Okay. But here's a question. Here's a question. If we all agreed to go back to where we came from, right? And you agreed to pack us off, right, with everything that is ours, right? That is everything that you took, or should I say, everything you stole from us, right? And all the other people that you lorded over, right, had to go back to where they came from with everything that you took from them, right? How long do you think this country would last?
It wouldn't.
There you go.
It wouldn't.
So, I don't know. I find it really funny, when I listen to a lot of the nonsense that is what these people come up with. But I will always turn around and say that we put ourselves in the firing line. We put ourselves in the firing line, and it is now no longer funny, right? Because, unless people are blind, right, or they're just being ignorant of the fact that these people are just now seeing that the narrative is beginning to change, the wind direction has changed, everything is changing, and the Americans are getting desperate. That's why they've got someone like Trump in there, right? Because they know that he chats a lot of BS and he doesn't even know half of what he's talking about anyway, right? So they've put him up there. He's their poster boy, most especially for the right wing. I'm not going to name them, but he's their poster boy, and he's going to make America great again. But what I say to people is this: if he wants to make America great again, that's fine. Good luck to him, but don't do it at the expense, right, of Africa. Right? Come up with your own stuff. Right? Yes, I think there's gold in certain parts of America. Maybe there's a lot of stuff in Africa that isn't in America. So why then are you going to abuse the very people who make it possible for your country to be great? So this is just my thing. I mean, it's just gotten to the point, especially with myself, where it's no longer funny. I'm beginning to get bored with the whole the whole narrative of what these people are doing and how they're doing it. And I come on here on a Saturday mostly to encourage my people, that is most of you, all of you here today, those of you that are listening in, and those I meet, along the way on my journeys, to be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Know what you want. Want what you know. And big up your fellow man, big up your brother, big up your sister. If they've got an idea, listen to their idea. Help them where you can, motivate them, mentor them. Right? Because I tell you what, personally, if I had a choice, I'd be living in Nigeria. Right? I'd be living in Nigeria. Why? Because number one, that's where my father was born. Right? It's the greatest country in the world. It's the giant of Africa. There's nothing that isn't there. Right? There's nothing that isn't there. And if the people got their acts together, right? Honestly speaking, Nigeria is where a majority of people should be coming for their holidays. Because I would rather. I mean, this is apart from the Queen, right? That's what people used to come to this country for, but she is no longer with us. So there's no reason. A lot of people don't come here for the king. They come here they come here because they want to take a ride along Tower Bridge, or they want to come and see Big Ben, or they want to come and see Changing of the Guard. That's it now. There's nothing left here now. So
and we need to run also, because with the way they're trying to force this war with Russia.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, when they're saying about sons and daughters going to the war,
mm-hmm.
Who do you think they're going to put at the front?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna say this from experience, right? I'm gonna say this from experience. Now, that's a narrative that's been pushed for many, many years. When there's wartime, they're gonna put all the black people in the front. I don't 100% agree with that, but right. And the reason why I don't agree with that is because of the fact that they really, really do not want black people as their heroes. They don't. I did 15 and a half years with these people, right? And they will do everything and anything that they can to ensure that you are not the hero. Do you understand? So, I have a little bit of experience in that area. But with that being said, right? With that being said, I mean, once upon